Well, this has been a long time coming and a long time in the making. I'd say probably 7 years ago is when I bought this turbo kit, or what I'm using as a turbo kit, because when I bought it, it wasn't complete, and it also wasn't functional. And to say this has been a long time coming would be a serious understatement. Where to start? Well, I got my first MR2 in 2010. That one, my original plan was to build out as a track car. Strip the interior, put on a bunch of fancy parts, and about $10,000 later, it drove, but it wasn't really what I wanted. The mileage was getting up there on it. I think when I took it off the road, it was at 197,000 miles. Still original engine, original clutch, original transmission. I had the car from about 113,000 miles, and it still drove perfect. I was driving about an hour to and an hour from work on a daily basis, and I needed something a little bit better. I daily drove the car for God knows how many years before then, so I figured it was time. So, enter BMW 135i. I was able to take the MR2 off the road and actually start working on it, putting new parts on there. And that's about the time that I bought this turbo kit. And when I say turbo kit, I mean pretty much what you see here is what I purchased. There's a few other parts with it, but let's see. This is a Greddy Trust T517z Turbo with the top secret turbo kit. So this is more or less supposed to take the place of a stock header of the Toyota Spyder MR2. And it effectively is supposed to put this guy right here back to where the stock mid-pipe bolts up. Incredible design. I'll be testing out the fitment of it. But when I bought this, the turbo was bad. Had a blown oil seal. It was dirty, and well, a lot of this stuff on the actual header needed to be ported out. So I went ahead and ported that out. And obviously, turbo needed to be rebuilt. Thankfully, it's this turbo is based off of a Mitsubishi TD-0 something or other, which made it extremely easy with parts, finding them, and the actual rebuild of it. Along with that, obviously, when you build a turbo, you need to have all the parts to support it. And I've got any number of parts laying around at this point. Oil pan, gauges, oil lines and feeds, along with the Hks PFC and all the supporting pipes, tubes, internal wastegate, silicon couplers. Everything that I need at this point, I have. Let me put this back. So where does that bring us now? Well, I finally got all the parts, and I've always gone back and forth whether or not I actually wanted to keep this kit. The standard thing to do with the MR2, at least up until a year or two ago, was to install the 2ZZ. Better horsepower from an NA engine. Internals are also better. The 1ZZ is not normally the engine you would want to modify, but we've seen time and time again low boost applications making around 200 wheel horsepower, give or take. So I figured, what the hell? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to finish building out the kit, and I'm going to go ahead and install it. Do a low boost between 5 and 6 PSI and make 190, 200 wheel horsepower. I'll be happy with that, at least for now. So this is kind of where we're at now. I've got this car. It's my second MR2. I've got almost all of my parts installed on it at this point. So let me go down the mod list real quick. From suspension, I have BCBR coilovers, 4K front, 7K rear. I've got upper strut tower mounts, upper strut tower braces. I've got white line sway bars that I need to install that are actually right up there. I've got solid bushings in the front. I think that's everything suspension-wise, minus wheels and tires. I have a square setup of Nitto NTO ones that are wrapping Koenig backbones, I think, and a 15x8. I also have Koenig flat outs. I might be getting both of these mixed up. It's been years. I think Koenig flat outs in a staggered setup, 16 rear at a 7.5 inch wide, and I want to say 15 inch front that are either 6.5 or 7 inches wide. And those are wrapped in Federal 949s, again with the staggered setup. In terms of engine modifications that I currently have on there, well, solid mounts. I currently have a 2.5 inch mass airflow pipe that'll be used in this turbo. I also have Denso 630cc injectors that are currently installed. For engine management, I currently have the Hks PFC with an FC Hako to tune it. The commander comes with that. What else do I have? I have a Bosch map or boost sensor for logging purposes with the Hks PFC. Yes, you can use that sensor, even though the 1ZZ version of the PFC doesn't actually support boost control. What else do I have? I've got OBX oil pan. I've got a Hks sequential blow off valve. Oh geez. Let's just go ahead and start pulling out parts. Here is the Hks blow off valve. It's an old one, still works. This thing is from the early 2000s. Let's see, this was one of the things that was holding me back, was all the gaskets. I finally have those. I have oil sandwich plate. I have oil lines. This was actually the very last item that I had to buy, was the oil lines. They finally came in like a week ago, so I have those. I went ahead and ordered, I guess these are C1 replica side vents, so I have those. I have one of the two installed. This one back here that you can't really see, and then I got this guy that I got to finish up. When it came, I guess there was too much pressure on it, so right here is actually a crack in it, so I need to lay some fiberglass on top of that, reinforce it, and then get it painted, and I'll get that installed. So what else can I say about this? Well, I'm actually going to be doing this turbo build. Like I said earlier, this has been years in the making. I know I started a turbo series or a turbo build series at this point 2 years ago, I think. It's 2021. That might have actually been even longer than that. I started that when I lived in Maryland still. I lived in my house that I owned up there. And that was after my first kid. Now I have 2 kids. So time's been pretty rough, and that's part of the reason why I haven't done this build up until this point. Kids are now at an age where I have some time. I can step away from them for a couple minutes and they won't kill themselves. Might kill each other, but they won't kill themselves, so that's a plus. So yeah, that's about where we're at. What are my goals for this car? Well, when I originally built my first car, like I said, I built it as, well, my intention was to build it as a track car. So stripping the interior, removing weight, keeping it NA, so trying to get all the good parts. So I had the PPE 4-to-1 headers on there. I actually had a 3-inch intake plus the 630cc injectors, all tuned with the Hks PFC. And if I were to take a wild guess just by the ass dyno, I'd say it was maybe making 145 to the wheels, which ain't that good, but that's about the peak of the 1ZZ. I had it tuned on a road tune, about as good as it could possibly get. But after I took that car off the road and I started to get a little older and I started to realize, what the hell was I actually doing? Why did I dump $10,000 into this car from parts that I switched out and removed and resold and then rebought, and I finally got to the point where I figured out what I really wanted. And realistically, I'm not at a point in my life right now where I can afford going to the track every weekend. Instead, I am at a point where I can afford driving to a Cars and Coffee every weekend. So build a car that I enjoy driving, build a car that has that power, build a car that I could show off to people that are interested in it. And what is that? Well, that's a car that still has all the creature comforts, but has a bunch of performance bits installed on there. So it doesn't detract from the daily drivability of it. It just makes it more fun. So more power in the turbo, better handling with the suspension, but the interior I'm planning on leaving all alone. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. The car is fully capable of driving. It's built up now to a point where I'm comfortable. I still need to install these sway bars. I still need to install a couple bits like the oil pan. But in terms of getting this car ready to be turboed, it's ready. This engine, current engine in this car being my second one, has 150,000 miles on it. So why not boost it till I blow? Down the line, if I end up throwing a rod or something, I'll either figure out from there what I'm going to do, or I'll just buy another 1ZZ and put it in there. Well, that's about it for now. Stay tuned, because I am starting work on this. Like I said, this car is ready. I have a base map on there right now with the injectors, with the intake, with everything else. Everything is working as it's supposed to. There's absolutely no problems with it. So at this point, I can either keep waiting, or I can start pulling parts off and start putting parts back on there. So I'm thinking over the next couple weeks, that's when I'm going to go ahead and start doing this. So look forward to those videos. I'm probably going to break it up between 3, 4, 5, 6 videos. And then at the end of the videos, I will end up doing another Copilot PFC auto tuning video, where I go over some of the more complex features of Copilot, including tuning for boost. So that's what we got to look forward to. On that note, I'll see you guys later. Bye.